What's up guys, and welcome to my new video. Today we're going to discuss volume profiles. I use a very specific volume profile. I always use the previous day volume profile because I trade from session to session, or rather from day to day. So very simple, the elements of my volume profile. We have the previous day high, the previous day low, those two are important. Then most importantly, we have the previous day POC, where most of the previous days volume happened, therefore the point of control. And then I also use value area high and value area low. And what those two basically just mean is that in between the value area high and the value area low, 70% of trade was conducted. So in this range, 70% of the volume was traded. If we are trading below it, that's what you can consider a discount, and if we are trading above it, that's what you can consider a premium. So now just quickly, how do I use this specific type of volume profile? So for that I have saved an example. Fucking Windows would let me pull it over. Okay, so here we have a classic scenario that I like to trade. Overall, we have an asset with bullish market structure like this thing. What time frame is this? I don't even know what time frame, but overall, this is gold, I think. Yeah, anyways, it's a bullish asset, doesn't even matter, it's all the same Ponzi schemes. So this is an asset in a bullish trend. So we had a run up like this, then we exhausted up here, and then we had a drive lower. So what we now want to see to look for reversals is this scenario here, where we get a big drop, and then volume starts to accumulate, like a big mountain of volume starts to accumulate down here. That's what we want to see. That's the first and most important thing we are looking out for. Then what we need to see is price to trade above this volume mountain, and that's what it does. And as soon as price continuously maintains above this volume mountain, that's where we can start looking for longs, or that's basically where we long. And stops, you can keep stops below the volume mountain and also below the previous day low, because sometimes what happens, not most of the time, but sometimes you get a little spike down here or even below previous day low, and then we reclaim and shoot up. That's something you can trade. If you look at one of my previous videos, I talked about swing failure patterns. So a swing failure pattern in this case would be this, where we have a swing low of the previous day, we trade below it but then snap back above it, which means we failed to swing below it. That would be a swing failure pattern. So quick recap of this scenario 1 that I like to trade with this volume profile. We have overall a bullish market, for example gold is bullish, Nasdaq is bullish, whatever. Then we get a sharp sell-off with very little volume in the middle, like we have a polar structure, like we have volume up here, volume down here, and in the middle we don't have a lot. And essentially what we're looking for is a gap fill, and this gap fill happens when volume accumulates at the bottom. We trade above the volume, like we continuously trade higher and higher and higher, so then we can long. And what we are looking for is we are looking for this gap to be filled. This here, this is what we call a gap, a low volume gap, or several low volume nodes, because as soon as price starts trading into this gap, into these low volume nodes, there's not a lot of resistance there. Like as soon as it starts trading into it, it will get filled. Nobody did business here. Nobody's defending that region, essentially. Nobody's defending it. The first people that are defending it, they will be sitting up here. And right around here, this is where we'll take our profit. Exactly. So now the second scenario that I have for you guys, it's quite similar, but also, how do I make it, bro? How do I make this? Anyways, we'll just do it like this. Okay, so the second scenario is actually quite similar. this asset was also overall in an uptrend. So what we are looking for is for volume to start accumulating down here. On the left we see volume is accumulating, and then we get one drive down, come up, drive down again, we take out this low, but we snap back above it immediately. That would be a swing failure pattern right here. So what we do, we trade above this volume mountain, we start trading above it, which is in this case also the previous day POC. We start trading above it, we retest it here, we retest it here, and then we don't even come close to it anymore. And then where I would look for longs, like if you want to get in aggressively, which I don't recommend for people who are new to this kind of trading, you can get in somewhere here inside this consolidation, and then you will have your stops just a little bit below the previous day low to be safe. And then what we are targeting is basically the previous day high. Like in a scenario like this, we basically want to trade the full range. So we would long here, stops down here, and what we are targeting is a reclaim of these several volume mountains. Like our TP1 will be here based on this mountain, because that's where people will start defending it. And as we can see, what did we get? If you look to the right, price struggled a little bit here, broke out, and then what happened? We retested this level exactly. Like these volume mountains, they are real time, or rather previous day, support and resistance. Like they're really nice. And what is especially nice in this example is that, guess what? Our EMA 200 that I told you guys in the past is so strong, it perfectly lines up with this level. So what you could have done, or what I would have done, and you guys should do too, if you see this, where you see a retest of a big volume level that matches up with EMA 200, that's where you add, like you will add here, and then you target the previous day high. As you can see, we did not quite get there, but if you're on the trade and you can just close it here if we almost get there, and then add here and maybe push this higher. But this was already a very clean trade overall, very, very clean. And the last example I have for you guys today is this. This is also quite a similar setup, but it's a bit different in the sense that we have that this is mostly based on swing failure patterns, and then we reclaim the volume mountain again, and then we look for the gap fill up here. So looking at this, we have our first swing low here. Swing low then gets taken once, twice, again and again. So the reason all of these are not really swing failure patterns. So the only swing failure pattern that I would consider valid is this last one down here, this one. Why do I consider only this one to be valid? Because we get a big drive down this red candle. Later on I will talk more about order flow, and if you get to understand order flow very well, you will understand that in this big red candle down here, especially if we are trading below a swing point, there's lots of selling here. There's lots of selling here. A lot of people got aggressive here trying to trade a breakout, but what happened? They got trapped. And when these people get trapped, when very aggressive people get trapped, they also exit very aggressively. So one big, just as a side note, if we get, why can't I draw here? If we get one big red candle like this below a previous day low or something, and then we get this several green candles closing away and then also trading above where all of these people sold, that's trapped traders, and these people will cause a very quick move to the upside, as we see. So in this case, where can we now long? The ideal long, like I took this long early because I saw this pattern, this order flow pattern, but where would be the ideal long? The ideal long should be very obvious to everyone who has watched my previous videos. And anyways, so the ideal long would be, we have our previous day POC, so the most important point. Then we have a reclaim of the trend and a trend retest here. This is the trend retest. Then we have RSI at the 50 level here, not perfect, but at the 50 level. And then the stock RSI in this case is not perfect, but it doesn't have to be all of the time. So we can take the long from here. And what do we target? Our initial target is this EMA 200, which also perfectly lines up with the value area high. So this is our TP1. Then our TP2 is this, because as we talked about before, this gap here, not a lot of people did business here, so nobody's here to defend. So the next thing we are targeting is this gap fill. So this would be our TP2, and then our TP3 would be previous day high again, like we are trading a full rotation. But personally, I would have taken like 70% of my profits when we reach this. This is like where I take 70% of my profits. Yeah, so I hope these 3 examples were clear, and so you guys, of course, I want you guys to also be able to use this, and that's why I have created this indicator. I was previously using a friend's version, but my friend doesn't want to share it, so I created my own indicator. It works just as fine, and in my opinion it even looks a bit better. So I have shared this, like this is a public script, you can view the source code and use the script yourself. I've shared it on TradingView. I will put the link to it in the description, and yeah, this is what it looks like. And we are currently looking at ETH, and what we can see here, like our levels, previous day low, previous day high, and currently we have this volume mountain here, like this mountain here. We are trading above it, so something we could look for is a rotational back up here. But first we would have to break through this volume mountain, and then there's not a lot of resistance until we get to this previous day POC. But what we would need to see in order to look for a long is for price to maintain inside this value area low. This would be very important, and then we could have stops like this. But currently price is already showing several signs of weakness, like we are trading below the value area low, and we failed here. Like we failed at this volume mountain. We were able to trade above this volume mountain, trade through the gap, and then notice, where did price stall? Price stalled as soon as we closed this low volume gap, and then started to come up here where people have done business, which meaning they will defend, and guess what, they did defend it. So yeah, but I will make this indicator available, and I will also make the other indicators that I use, like the RSI that I use. It's not a normal trading view RSI, but go and watch my video about the RSI and divergences. I will make that publicly available. Yeah, and in the future, because this trading with this previous day profile, it's actually quite a complex system and you can do a lot with it, but this was just supposed to be a quick introduction video, and yeah, I will post more videos about it in the future. So as always, if you guys have any questions or any suggestions, let me know in the comments, and until next time.